If you wanted to listen to local police and fire radio chatter out and about in your local towns or neighboring towns these days, all you have to do is download an app on your phone and zero in to your municipality. But what did you do back in 2002? Well, you'd end up buying one of these RadioShack Pro scanners that have focused on pre-programmed service bands, or presets as I like to call them, for the police, fire, ham, VHF, marine, and even the weather bands, to make it easy for people that didn't know the exact frequencies that their police and fire departments used. This is the Pro-82 RadioShack scanner, which was actually manufactured by GRE in 2002. It has 200 programmable channels with a duplicate frequency checker, and it means by programmable channels pretty much what your car radio does with presets. So instead of having to remember a frequency like this, or one that's even more complicated, you can set that as a preset of sorts and then just skip through your different presets without having to dial in the frequency each time. Pretty much echoes the same thing on this side, and I was going to read off the frequency coverage, but I don't think I'm going to do that today. So if you're interested to see which frequencies this unit covers, you're more than welcome to pause the video. And on the back of the box it extols some of the features, such as an easy-to-read backlit display, weather scan capabilities, channel scan, and a display backlight. I like these retro 90s concept art pictures. Ride along with firefighters in real-life situations. Keep track of your favorite racing teams. And I especially like this one. Listen to police, sheriff, and state police in small towns. Here it goes on to explain the advantage of the one-touch search by way of these 5 orange buttons, and it says that you can listen right away. This scanner has pre-programmed service bands for the different services, police, fire, etc. You press a button and a one-touch search finds active frequencies, although obviously it's not going to tell you which department it is, so you really need to know the actual frequencies that your local police departments are broadcasting on to be able to tell what's what. Custom manufactured in China for RadioShack, Fort Worth, Texas, and requires 4 AA batteries. Nothing's in the box because I actually have the radio off camera right now. I've been using it for, I don't know, for about the last year, and I'm only now getting around to doing a video of it, because the last video I did on a Regency informant, I knew it wasn't going to be all that popular on my channel, but suffice it to say that that video has really tanked in the viewership department. But hopefully I could turn things around with this video on the RadioShack handheld scanner. There was this yellow plastic battery tray, which I was operating under the assumption was for regular AA's, but you look on the side here, it says use only for rechargeable batteries. So this is for, I'm assuming, rechargeable AA's. And we have this little pamphlet here talking about the telescoping antenna for portable scanners and walkie-talkies. See, this also must not be applicable, because this mentions extending the 9 sections or so of the telescoping antenna. So either this came with a telescoping antenna at one point in time, or maybe this was a separate thing that somebody bought and they just stuck it in here, because I don't have that telescoping antenna. Check out our webpage to see previous stories and look at what you've been missing. Here's a sneak peek at what the radio looks like, though that's a Pro-89, so slightly different. Actually looks like it's missing those preset buttons compared to the one I have. Don't miss any of the action. Subscribe today for only 20 bucks. Call that number. Don't even know what area code that is. MasterCard, Visa. Published 6 times a year. It's 40 pages of pure radio info. So this is a subscription. And then it goes on here to talk about different frequencies for the area, which looks like RadioShack actually used to carry a police call frequency book and directory, which would list the frequencies. And here is the scanner itself, showing its age. It's got some scuffs, some corrosion, this chalky residue on the plastic, but it is complete and still works. So it's got this detachable antenna with a BNC connection. Very flexible. Headphone output, squelch control, and volume adjustment. Over on the side is the DC 9-volt power input. Here's where the AA's are currently installed. I'll be the first to admit that it's been a long time since I've actually used this thing, and it's been even longer since I actually had to do any kind of programming with it. So you go through and you use these arrow keys. Somebody's broadcasting on there. So I'll go up to bank 10, and I'll just do on the very last channel. There's nothing programmed in, so it's in lockout mode, meaning that when it's scanning, it's not going to stop on this frequency. And I could put in any frequency I want, so, you know, 243.512, I don't know what that goes with. Press enter. It's going to give me an error because that's not a valid frequency, so I'll try it again. I'll do 160.500. There we go. And now that's programmed in as channel 199. It has a couple different features, like priority mode, which means that this frequency will then have priority when you're scanning, so it'll take precedence if there's two different frequencies broadcasting at the same time. This one will be the one that gets the most airtime. You could also set it to have a delay, so if it's scanning and there's dead air after somebody just finishes broadcasting or keying up and they've gone off air for a second or two, and you don't want to miss what happens next because it'll just start scanning automatically. If you turn on delay mode, it'll add a couple of extra seconds where it'll wait, and that way you can catch the beginning of if somebody else starts keying up right after somebody goes off the air on that frequency. Now if you have a frequency programmed in and you want to clear it, instead of having to zero it out and then save it, I just read the manual, I just skimmed through it to refresh myself, and you just press the 0 and the enter key, and it's zeroed out, and then you just press scan, and it'll start cycling through the different banks that you have, and you could turn them on or off just by pressing the respective number keys that correspond with the bank number. So let's just say I just want to do bank 10 now. Turn off 1, 2, 3, and 9. The only bank that's getting scanned is 10. There's only one frequency, which is why that's the only one that's going through.
Flows around 30. Chance of rain 70%. Thursday, mostly sunny. Much cooler with highs around 40. Thursday night, mostly clear. Cold with lows in the mid-20s. Becoming southwest 15 to 20 knots. Seas 3 to 6 feet. Cloudy and cold. Near steady temperature.
So now I'm going through the preset fire and police bands. We're already getting some activity.
111, I got you out there with them. One emergency contact is listed into the CAD. 2 voicemails were left.
Alright, very good. At this time we have a water condition. We believe that's coming from the dental office on the floor above going through the electric water meters. We're going to be forcing the front door to the dental office here.
Deputy, also electrical inspector en route, or is it coming from a water line?
It appears to be the sewer line, and it looks like we secured water, but we're unable to determine. We'd like them to respond out as a precaution just to check.
Breezy 2237.
Now I have this set to scan the air frequencies. I doubt anything's actually going to come up because I don't live near an airport, so probably not going to pick anything up. Couldn't have timed that better if I tried. There's also a green backlight for the display. You just press this little light bulb symbol and that turns it on. Here's a perfect use of the lockout feature. Got some pager info or pager sounds. Just press the LL button, lockout button, and that'll disallow it from coming through. So this was certainly not intended to be a how-to tutorial on how to use and program this thing. There's still probably like 60 or 70% of it that remains unknown to me and how to actually utilize it. But I've gotten it dialed in just enough to where I can just set it and forget it now and use this thing to listen to radio chatter. Even today, if it's analog, chances are you could probably listen to it with one of these scanners.